Welcome to Stocking the Pantry with Hal. It's a series of videos, articles, and my ramblings produced in cooperation with the Point Defiance Ruston Senior Center. Our goal is to provide information and resources to help everyone to be better prepared and reduce food waste. So let's get started. This is the third in our series of different ways to make pickles. And today we're going to be doing a relish. And the relish that we've chosen is a very simple one, not a lot of ingredients or spices, but it illustrates all the different points, all the different things you need to do to make a really good relish. So let's start with the ingredients. It's going to be a zucchini relish. So we'll be using about 5 of this size zucchinis, a couple of sweet peppers. You can do green and red, but I've chosen to go with just red because we've got a lot of green already. A sweet onion. And then for the spices, we have got yellow mustard seeds and celery seed, sugar, vinegar, and salt. So I wanted to take a moment to talk about the importance of what kind of salt and what kind of vinegar you use. Now, I don't mean like the difference between white vinegar and cider vinegar. I just mean that in order to make sure that it is a high enough acidity, you want to get the kind that has written on it, and it's usually fairly big, diluted to 5%. So whether it's white or cider or any other kind of vinegar, if you're canning with it, look for the 5%. Also, with salt, you want to use something, kind of salt, and I'm not endorsing any particular brand, but something that is specifically pickling and canning salt, because that doesn't have any iodine or any other additives. And the iodine, unfortunately, will go ahead and make your pickles really soft. So we talked about the other ingredients quickly, but there is the sugar, salt, the peppers, the zucchini, the onions, and the yellow mustard seeds and the celery seeds. So then we can go ahead and prepare the vegetables. So you can chop the vegetables up, you can use a mandolin, you can even use a food processor, but I like a rather chunky salsa, and that carries over into any kind of relish. This would be a good size. I would like to use this with a steak or with hot dogs, anything like that. But with most relishes, you're going to be using a technique we haven't talked about before, which is short brining. Now, brine is used to describe 2 different things. One is a solution of salt and water that is used to draw out the water from the vegetables, and that's called brining. Then the term brine is also used to describe the liquid that goes on that's usually got vinegar and salt added to it. So in short brining, we take the chopped up vegetables and then we add the salt and we mix it thoroughly. And it's usually a fairly low amount of salt. We mix it thoroughly and then we let it sit in a cool place, usually a refrigerator, for anywhere from 2 to 5 or 6 hours. Now, the salt content is not high enough and the time is not long enough for it to start the fermentation process that we use when we're making like fermented pickles or kimchi or sauerkraut. But it is long enough that it will draw out some of the water from the vegetables. And the reason we do that is then when we drain out a little of the water, it opens up some space. And so when we put on the water and spices and vinegar solution, it's sucked back into it. So I'll show you. We're not going to sit around and wait for 2.5 hours. I'm not sure that I could even fill the space enough to not even bore myself. But we'll go ahead, and I've prepared some of this yesterday, and so we'll take a look at what it looks like after it's done its short brine. And so this is some. I actually made a batch yesterday, and this, you can see that's how much water came out of the full amount. But this is just a portion of it, and I saved it. And so what you would do after short brine is drain it, and then we'd rinse it a number of times. And then after we'd gotten it rinsed, got most of the excess salt off, we'd put all the other ingredients with this into a pot and cook it for 10 to 15 minutes. Now I like to cook it down enough that it becomes a little thicker. And so this is an example of the product we came up with. And you can smell the vinegar and the other spices in there. And it's really kind of a sweetish relish. Not Swedish, but sweetish. And so that we have links take you to a lot of different relish recipes, and then also some more information about pickling. So thank you for joining us. Next time, we'll be working on fermented pickles using sauerkraut as the example. Thank you for sharing this time with us. If you'd like more information about the Center for Food Preservation Arts, including more recipes, check out our website at preservefoods.blogspot.com and follow us on Facebook so you get notifications of upcoming articles, videos, and events. And we hope to see you back here for our next virtual canning party.